At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
And of course, we have Rational Thoughts on our show. Welcome. This is Doug Crow at the Author Your Brand Show. You're going to want to take notes, as we always do, because we've got the best guests on the internet joining us today. And this one's especially near and dear to me because I happen to have his book here. I'll show you in a second. Our guest is a licensed attorney in California and Texas. Don't let that scare you away. He's a founder of Brain Consulting, Brayn Consulting. And it's a powerhouse team composed of lawyers, engineers, accountants, who hail from Big Four and other national consulting firms. And prior to founding Brain in 2010, this guy worked for Deloitte. He's also spent several years doing indigent defense work. His book, Millionaires You Went to High School With, proves that you've got a real shot at the big times, no matter what. No matter where you're growing up, what your background is, doesn't matter. You don't have to be the football captain or class president to make your mark. Unsung heroes have a lot to teach us how to make it to the top. So welcome to the show today, Mr. Brady, not Brain, but he is, Brady Bryan.
Thank you, Doug. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great to have you. So big question before we get going here is, why should people listen to us today? What do you got to say that's going to make them want to stick around?
Look, Doug, every year I have the distinct privilege of learning, meeting, speaking with hundreds of millionaires. Mm-hmm. And over my lifetime, I've spoken with thousands of millionaires, and I ask a lot of questions, and I learn a lot of things. And just about 7 of those stories I was able to capture and put into this book. And I've learned a lot from these folks over the years. And one of the things I've learned is that they're human beings just like you and I.
Yeah.
In fact, Doug, we probably went to high school with a lot of them.
That's right.
And hence the name of the book, The Millionaires We Went to High School With. And so, really, and I expose these folks, and I want to, dig into them, a little bit more, what makes them tick and how they do things. And so they're all different, but there are some uniques among every single one of them.
Yeah. So that begs the question, because there's a lot of books that showcase and try to dissect data from all the successful people out there. Think and Grow Rich did it. And a lot of people go down this road, but they generally focus on the famous people. You didn't do that. You would like to go to the guy next door who did well. And you've told me stories about going to conventions and showing up in jeans and a jet or whatever. So tell me what the common thread was, if there is one, or maybe more than one, that connects all these dots and all the success here.
These people, you call it what you will, call it grit, call it persistence, call it toughness. Every single one of them have something in them that continues to drive every day. One of the first chapter in there is about Pat McKee. Yeah. And one of the things that just stuck with me, everybody, well, most people here remember the great housing crash of 2008.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he said, there I was, I decided I left my prior career and a very cushy, very comfortable corporate life to go build homes. And, I've got a decision to make, and I decided I'm just going to go out and build another home.
Yeah.
And it's that mentality with every single one of these people. It says, you know what, we're going to face challenges out there. There's going to be something new. Maybe it's a personal challenge. Maybe it's a health challenge. But every single one of them are going to face that challenge just like they do anything else. Short term, I'm going to keep fighting. If your car gets stuck in the mud, you might have to get out of your car and push it.
Yeah. Yeah. Resilience and grit is a big one. I was just on a call with another entrepreneur and does very well in his business and, just shy of 50 million. And he told me that every time he has a setback, and he always keeps going like these guys do, he'd always come back higher. And every time, many of it, like all of us, we all have setbacks in our life, but no matter what it was, when he came out of it, he always was better than when he started it. And my question to him was, well, okay, so you've learned that lesson, but what about the very first time it happened? He was in the ICU, 50-50 chance of survival, working his phone to save his business. And like, where did that come from? Is it nature or nurture? And he didn't have a clear answer. I think you might. So is it something you're born with, or can you learn this?
I think it's certainly learnable. And yeah, I think there might be a bit of nature involved, but certainly nurture. But I can tell you, one of the things about it, and one of the reasons these 7 folks are in there is not that, I just randomly met them, but I talk to these folks, I know them, and they become mentors. And so, you learn how to resolve some of these challenges by having mentors.
Yeah.
And whether it's starting a business or growing your business and scaling your business, or promoting through your organization where you're at and growing as an employee and working your way up the ladder, having mentors is essential. In fact, that's one of the topics we talk about. It's absolutely essential in growing for young professionals in particular. How else do you meet people? How else do you learn about this? You got to have to forego the what is it, the fantasy football meeting or the Netflix night or whatever it is, and do something uncomfortable. Oh my gosh, you might have to go to this networking event and deal with a bunch of old people like me, and
Funny.
have a drink or two, or go to the game with this networking group. But meeting and networking is essential. And unfortunately, the last 2.5 years, 3 years, Doug, has done us no good.
Been very tough. I love the thing of mentors. I've had several in my life. Some of them know they were my mentors. Some of them didn't even know it. I'm following them and getting advice for them. What about you? I mean, you've got this great book. You've entered hundreds of guys at this level. How did you select your mentor or mentors? Do you have a process for that?
There's no official process for me. In my early career, there was an official mentor I was given. We really didn't like each other too much, and it was probably because there was a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
And I remember the first thing he told me is that, you're the CEO of your own life. Doesn't matter if you want to stay here and work your way up, but you're the CEO of your own life. And you need to understand, Brady, ask yourself this, like, what do you want from every single year? Like, you're in this role. Is this a job, or are you looking to grow and learn some skill sets? Yeah. Where do you want to be? What skill sets are you missing? How do you achieve those? How are you going to get them out of this job? What's the next job going to be? So, thinking about that. And so that was my first one. And others along the way have been folks that I've met in industry or even clients. And like you said, a lot of them don't even know they're mentors, but they offer advice. Doug, you and I, even before this call, we're talking about different softwares. I learn every day, and my life has improved just about every week in speaking to people.
I think I'm the same way, because my business partner and wife, as you know, Jen, every time we complete a book, we're like, oh my gosh, we just learned a ton, because we, obviously work on editing or writing or proofing, whatever it is. And man, it's so, I think we've gotten a couple of different MBAs here. We've learned so much from mergers and acquisitions and from you all. So I think that official mentorship is certainly valid, but the informal stuff has its place too.
Yeah.
You had the official one that you didn't really, maybe there's a little bit of a disconnect there. So after that, were all the people in your life sort of an ad hoc, as it comes as it goes, like learning something piece, or was there a formal one after that?
Yeah, there's currently no formal one other than, well, you don't know. That's what I'm saying. There are groups. I won't name names right now, but there are groups where CEOs can get together and learn best practices and just talk about how are you facing this challenge and whatnot. CFOs, same thing. One of the groups I'm a part of is EOS, and you can talk to other visionaries and other integrators and talk about things that they're facing.
Right.
So yeah, there's groups out there. You can find them on, you just do a Google search or a LinkedIn search on groups. And then also, we'll got to be careful on other social media, but there's other groups you can find.
I'm in my world. Yeah. I mean, I've had my share of, what did I just pay for? and versus the ones that are like, oh, that was really valuable. And I think there's something you said for just getting a referral on that, like you mentioned, EOS or Vistage or something where it's like, it's good. I was just on the call with my current mentor. I go through every couple of years. I have different things I know I want to learn, and I might shift. And yeah, there's paid and unpaid. They both have their place. And in my world, even the unpaid one's going to get paid somehow, either by referral or doing something. So in your experience, as you're working with these guys, you interviewed hundreds of people. Obviously, grit is a common thread there. What about any of the ones with their specific challenges? Was there a specific thing you learned about how they were able to overcome any of those challenges other than grit?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny what you find, especially with a lot of like president, CEO, founder type people, is a lot of times getting, and they find this through hard ways and sometimes through easy ways, is getting out of their own way sometimes is the best next step to scale. And the truly successful or the truly humble are the ones that can understand where they can bring the value. And sometimes they need to just let go of some of those things. And one of them is Nathan Sweat here.
Yeah.
And the awakening for him is he found out that he had cancer.
Yeah.
And understanding that he had to let go of certain things and understanding what was really, you want to talk about working yourself out of a job, like, making preparations on potentially not being right.
Yeah.
And I've known Nate before this happened, and he and I have professionally grown together.
Yeah.
I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. And and all the way to him ringing the bell for his last cancer treatment and officially being in remission.
Great.
Learning that lesson on what you're really necessary for.
Yeah.
Even things as simple as signing checks. Doug, what can happen? Think about it. If you're in a hospital, so I just remembered we just had Super Bowl weekend, right? Well, last Super Bowl weekend, I was in the hospital, and my wife was handling a lot of stuff for me. Well, what happens if you're incapacitated? Is there a plan in place? Who's going to, even things like who's going to sign the checks? Who can transfer money? Where do you receive deposits? All of these things that are very administrative in nature. Have you figured out a way to work yourself out of a job? And what it still echoes to me today is my professor Burkholz in college. He was originally one of the original founder owners of the Houston Wrestling Federation. That goes way back. It was way before WWF and WWE.
Right. Yeah.
And he said, a good manager is going to be somebody that works themselves out of a job and makes themselves dispensable, not indispensable.
Yeah.
So
interesting. So as you've grown your company and seen others grow, there's always these, plateaus and spikes and stuff. And one of them things seeing with a lot of our customers and clients and friends is there's this wall at a certain point where you've gone from founder status, like you mentioned, to CEO status, and all the skills that you had to grow or start are no longer that relevant to management or that next level. So, the question is like, okay, so how do you determine that point, and how do you turn over the real reins? Not obviously, going from a solopreneur to having a staff of 5 or 10, you can delegate things, but at some point you got to fire yourself as a founder and bring somebody in, maybe.
Yeah, and I think it is an analysis on where you want to be, understanding your own personal mission, your professional mission, as well as your company's mission, and what's stopping you from getting there. Well, X, Y, or Z. Well, maybe it's me. I didn't mean to rhyme, but and it's having that assessment for me. It's understanding how I can have a better quality of life and not work 80 hours a week.
Right.
And understanding what hats I can take off and give to other people.
Yeah.
Do those people exist to give the hat to? So
Yeah.
in EOS, we call them people, and you got seats. So you have right people, right seats.
Right.
So if you got right people, are they in the right seat? And do seats exist that we don't have people for? So
Yeah.
it's part of that analysis of, it's all understanding where you are and where you want to be and how to
Yeah.
get.
Okay. So that's good for the internal dialogue with looking at your own company. That's wonderful. One of the things that's come up talking to people like yourself is we sometimes use the words interchangeably, and I'm not sure we should, of growth and scale. So in your opinion, what's the difference, or is there one?
Oh yeah, there's certainly a difference, because you can grow and not scale. You can grow and just work more hours. You can grow and just throw more bodies at it. And is that really scalable? If you're looking to ultimately maintain or improve profitability, that means you're going to have to change something, right? The definition of insanity is repeat the same behavior but expect a different outcome. Well, that's one of the definitions of insanity.
Yeah.
But just to repeat the same behavior, that's growth. And you can continue to grow by repeating the same behavior.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, until every single person's going to reach a saturation point, though.
Right. Right.
And, there's the whole quality of life thing, and, like staying married. And it is Valentine's Day.
That's right.
Good things.
Yeah. If you're single, it's okay. Just keep working harder. Regarding your company, I'm always curious about that, because I'm looking at the future here, Brady, and this is it applies to every business right now, right? This whole AI, Chat GPT, things happening where there's this scaling of
Your world out there.
using tools to make our jobs easier, and it is. At a certain point, I was talking to a tech guy just a couple of days ago, and we're talking about this thing. You can type stuff in there and it goes to the internet and makes whatever you want out of it. It's using existing data and creating something new. So it's kind of cute.
Doug, I just read, I don't mean to interrupt you. I just read last night that Chat GPT was used to render a legal decision.
Yeah, I read that one. Yeah. Yeah. Legal decision.
Unbelievable.
It's gotten an MBA already. This fucking thing.
I believe it.
But the thing that I want to get your opinion on is, okay, so it's a tool, and you and I in our industries, we can both use it. But my friend said, oh, this summer, when they come out with version 2.0, get this, it'll be not twice as good, not 10 times as good. It's going to increase its power 10,000 fold.
That's unbelievable.
This year.
But
So, I'm asking you as geez, how do we get in front of that and make sure, it doesn't take over and, hey, I don't need your consulting service. I can just push a button and fix everything.
That's interesting. At the end of the day, I think it may be true for some, some job titles and whatnot. At the end of the day, at least for me in my business, it's about relationships.
Bingo. Thank you.
And you can never outsource a relationship. It's very difficult to do that.
Not in this century, hopefully, but maybe when the Japanese sex dolls get really good and sentient, then it might change something. Yeah. But yeah. So that's a good point, though. That's one thing. That's the same thing Jen said about our writing. We're ghostwriting and publishing books. I'm like, well, you're gonna have a CEO have some Chat GPT write your book. Has no soul, no emotion. His own personal perspective. It's hard to have a robot write that right now. But yeah, relationships is the better answer, because I'm not going to outsource, shaking someone's hand, right? Hopefully not.
And I think it's going to be common to institute a lot of AI, and whether it's chat or whatnot. There's the other one. What is the other one? Not Chat GPT, but there's another one.
There's a bunch of them now. I was looking at this morning. There's Jasper. There's open. There's a bunch of them coming out. It's
and a lot of them are open source, and you got to be put in a queue to be able to get the updated version.
Right.
These are tools in the toolbox. It's just like, does a real estate agent replace an attorney? Well, real estate agents can do certain things that normally would take an attorney, but you still need specialized people. You still need the relationships. You still need the people to help you do things. And so, yeah.
Yeah. We'll treat it as a tool. Just got to make sure we use the tool. Don't let the tool use us, I think.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Or else we can go to our little pods to power the matrix sooner rather than later.
I was talking to the chief data scientist over at Intel last year, and it's a brilliant guy, right? He's got his own nonprofit and stuff. I'm like, okay, and he's talking about the whole AI robotics thing, and I'm like, Melvin, I'm concerned. I love science fiction movies, and I've seen the Terminator. I know what's going to happen with all this stuff. It's going to get really smart, super smart, sentient, and then like, what do I need you for? He laughed, of course. He's more positive than I about this. But he gave some amazing statistics, because every time there's a technology shift, a big one like this, internet, mobile phone, AI, people get excited or they freak out, right? Oh, I can't make vinyl records anymore. Boo hoo. I'll go make CDs. Or now I don't make CDs, just download it, right? He's seen these things. And he said, right now in his world of I think it was, he's talking about machine learning and AI and robotics, specifically that like combo platter. He said there are 200,000 jobs that we can't fill right now. Not because we don't even know how to write the job description. It's like so raw out there. And like just getting somebody to understand how I could turn my hand like that for biomechanicals. How could I transmute this muscle to a robot and do that? It's like takes 10 people and a lot of things. So there's always the rebirth of, someone's got to run the machine and something new will come from it. So that's my take on, not being negative about AI, of course, saying, okay, how can we use it properly? And
our friend Mohan, I mean, he's similar, right? It's less fear than understanding that is it robotics so much as cobotics, and these, they're here to help us. So
right, yeah, until they want to kill us.
Until they want to.
Which maybe hopefully that'll be after I'm gone. But anyway, listen, I want to talk about your book
rather than later.
Yeah, your book for a second. So I just love this thing. It's beautiful book, of course. What was it about this topic that got you enthused? Here you are doing consulting for customers in the finance and world, taxes. This is kind of a little bit not having to do with what you do as a business.
Yeah, and I think it's this is I still make time every week to and every day that I'm in town to take my it's only one kid left going to school. Take my kid to school, and we're watching the kids cross the street, and you're seeing all of these hopes and dreams. And these hopes and dreams are, some of them are encouraged, but most are dashed upon the shoals of what? Let's face it, family issues, life, our education system,
right?
And I don't mean to speak ill of our education system or our educators. I come from a family of teachers, principals, and my mother was a teacher for almost 25 years, and my grandmother was a principal and educator. So nothing that. It's just our system in general is designed to elevate these really shiny opportunities, like, hey, here's Elon Musk, and one day, if you work hard enough, you can work for him. and I'm here to tell you that there are millions of people in the United States that are doing jobs. They're running plumbing businesses, they're running construction companies, they're running software companies that they've started themselves or taken over and improved.
Right.
There's opportunities out there. There's people running franchises that have excellent opportunities. And my goal ultimately is to educate, evangelize, and hopefully motivate some folks, as well as just tell some stories of some badass people that I know and I've met.
Love it. That's great. All right, that's great today, Brady. I appreciate you. Any words of wisdom for our last thoughts about this book, or anything you want to share?
I would say, as I come from the South, and my grandpa had a lot of sayings. You stick around, you're going to learn a lot about my grandpa. But if you're feeling froggy, jump. if you're at all curious as to what other like
Mhm.
normal millionaires are out there, pick up the book and read it
Yeah.
and learn about some of these folks. You're going to see some of these people were cubicle warriors just like you, and they're in the office and they're killing it and they're really good at their jobs.
Right.
But they're missing that element.
Mhm.
As humans, we're designed to be industrious, but we're also designed to be creative. So,
Yeah.
if you're not feeling that need met, you've got to scratch that itch.
Yeah.
So, you can see what these people have done. You can reach out to them. You can reach out to me.
Mhm.
Would love to answer any questions you may have.
Yeah. The book link will be down in the show notes here. So go below there. You can click on my Amazon link. And of course, if you want to talk with Brady, your contact information is there as well. So thank you very much. Great having you on the show today.
It's exciting. Thanks so much, Doug.
You bet. And that concludes another episode of the Author Brand Show with our host, me, and our guest, Brady Bryan. Get that book. It's a really good one. Great stories in it. It's not a difficult read. Take about 4 hours or so, or 3 if you're a fast reader, and great information. So great having you on today. Brady, appreciate you, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.